Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back again. I am attorney Michael Ehline. I'm a natural law theorist. And here there's a big debate all over the internet about TikTok. And, TikTok's the one that a lot of the content creators love because TikTok doesn't automatically demonetize you at the drop of the hat if you say anything bad about President Biden, for example. What happened here is HR 7521 got passed. President Biden said he's going to sign for sure. And how it got passed is going to be a really interesting story for you. You can draw your own conclusions. I'm just going to try to quickly, privates, report the news. Is it gives the president the power to determine whether or not a social media company, for example, is a threat to the national security of the United States. For example, the president could say, hey, this is a Russian asset. This social media company is a Russian asset. So, I don't know if that sounds familiar, but it's something they could probably do. Twitter, David Sachs, he was complaining, saying, hey, this bill should clarify that it doesn't apply to any U.S. entities because, a lot of pundits and experts, I think probably even Elon Musk, are just assuming this is a way to try to shut up Twitter because Twitter basically has taken his social media site out of the norm because normally all the social media and all of the media are run by hardcore liberals, and Musk is sort of not like that. He's kind of in the middle. He's in different places. I think he's more of a free thinker, but whatever he might be, you've got people saying, what's this one? He's saying the bill would give authority to an administration to decide who isn't and who is a foreign adversary. So you could see how that could be scary to somebody like Elon Musk. And we'll talk about that later. So especially because we know now that at least one ex-FBI agent actually on Russia's payroll was feeding false information to social media and other people. Trump was a Russian, but it doesn't apply to review sites. So Yelp gets a carve out here. So people who have review sites, even if they're in communist China, they get a carve out. The question that I'm called upon to answer today is whether or not there are any things that TikTok could sue Facebook and Google for, and why. Well, and the reasons why will be explained below. But basically, by pushing for legislation, by hiring nonprofits to try and undermine TikTok, because TikTok just simply is a better platform as far as free speech and other things like that go by far. And also monetizing, they don't terrify you to not engage in political speech like the other platforms allegedly do, or things like unfair competition or unfair business practices. And you could probably even sue the government, because this is like a state actor theory type of an argument where these other tech companies are basically instrumentalities of the federal government. And I discussed this in one of my other videos. But basically, if TikTok thinks that Google or Meta is using its political influence to promote laws that harm TikTok's business interests, TikTok has a potential case. Could TikTok sue Zuck and these other people at Google personally? Yeah, maybe. Maybe they could pierce the corporate veil. It all depends. Some people think that this Yas character is actually working in tandem with these people so he can wrestle control of TikTok and make it a U.S. controlled interest. Who knows? Now, here's the root of the problem. TikTok is the new search engine of the young. The Beijing-based ByteDance is one of the most downloaded apps in the world, and it often outranks Meta's, or commonly called ZuckTalk, popular Facebook and Instagram apps. So it's kind of interesting, this push for these laws. And they're saying our data is not safe because this guy has his company based in communist China. And they are right. And communist China even has an agreement with these private companies, allegedly, that if China does access data that's on their platform, that this guy, who knows, could disappear, right? Because it's China. If he discusses that, maybe like with the U.S. or the CIA or the FBI, if they question him, or he was called before Congress and maybe just kept on dodging questions. I don't know. Maybe you should watch the congressional hearing. So there's a point there, okay? The issue is federal officials have long worked for Google and Meta and these other big tech companies back and forth. They get these jobs. A lot of people are complaining that the FBI and the CIA are basically like woke now, and all the old guards are bailing out because they don't like all the craziness and the whole critical race theory environment where white people are sort of looked at as the enemy. So that's something that needs to be looked into. In the meantime, you have the Communist Chinese Party would have unlimited data, the federal officials say. Well, they've been doing it to us now. And I'll show you that in a minute. Now, the ex-Navy SEAL Crenshaw is a big anti-TikTok guy. So he's saying that it's basically Communist Chinese Party asset. A lot of you guys remember him from the Eddie Gallagher case. Now, the FBI already illegally spies on more of us than TikTok. In my latest YouTube video, I explain this. And illegally data mining our bank data in a private-public partnership, and they've been targeting Christians, gun owners, and supporters of legal immigration. It's discussed in this YouTube video called Can I Sue the FBI? It's on my channel called Michael Ehline or Ask Michael Ehline. We've got our own agencies illegally spying on us if we support the Second Amendment or legal immigration. I mean, let that sink in, because once you hear the rest of this, you're going to be even more confused about what's going on with your country. A lot of you guys were military guys. You served. This is going to blow your mind. Okay, so here's what happened. Just so you can't accuse me of disinformation. There was financial surveillance in the United States, how federal law enforcement commandeered financial institutions to spy on Americans. And it was by the Committee on the Judiciary and the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government, U.S. House of Representatives. It just came out March 6th. I've been writing and doing this slideshow presentation, trying to get this thing ready for days. I wish I could have got it out quicker, but I think it's going to be pretty comprehensive. I'm trying to get it in under 10 minutes. So quickly, private. Hundreds of former feds, CIA, DOJ, FBI, work back and forth with all these companies, right? So basically they're, in my opinion, buying influence and also turning all of our government agencies hardcore left-wing, just like Silicon Valley. In fact, I would venture to say that the FBI and the CIA are now microcosms of Silicon, by any means necessary, not to punish their guy and always try and punish the other guy. It's like almost like a Maoist kind of thing. It's weird. It's kind of scary. If the other side gets their guy in power, like a Trump, he's going to go after them and do the same crap. They're already starting to do the whole ballot harvesting thing, like the right in California. They're sort of like copying what the Democrats. Less clicks, that means less ad revenue. And in 2021 alone, Facebook registered 114 billion. Then they got 134 billion in 2023. And that's quite a bit of money, right? That's a lot. But TikTok, check out TikTok. This is the problem right here, guys. TikTok's making more money than all of them. And these guys don't like losing all their influence with the youth. I mean, people don't like it that they're propping up, the official government results as the official search result. And we know a lot of times they're BSing us. Google and YouTube probably hate TikTok. So because of this, Google's had to start competing. So they started sharing ad revenue. But the big complaint that we get from these young people is, oh man, Google, YouTube just censors the crap out of you. If you say anything bad about Biden, or, their fact checkers are full of crap. Like they'll fact check something your story doesn't even talk about, so they can say it's false because you're not supporting their political narrative. So I get complaints like that all the time. It's just so blatantly biased. Many content curators are opting for Rumble and Patreon. YouTube easily and readily demonetizes what they call non-woke users. Facebook whistleblower exposed a potential motive to take out TikTok. His name is Francis Haugen, and he was basically saying that their researchers figured out that 2 to 3 times more time is being spent on TikTok. Well, that's dangerous to Facebook. Their popularity has been going down. So what did Facebook do? They hire Targeted Victory to take down TikTok. It's a conservative think tank. This is how smart these lefty guys are. They hire a conservative think tank to take down a site that probably is more pro-business than the American sites. I mean, that's smart, right? Okay, so because aren't the Republicans supposed to be the party like pro-business? TikTok had a slap a teacher contest. No such challenge ever existed. So that was a lie, basically, if that's true. Now, Yas is another deal. This is this billionaire. He apparently is an owner in the company that owns TikTok. I think it's called ByteDance or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Apparently, he funds Rand Paul, Trump, and Vivek. Trump hates Zuck. We know he doesn't like Instagram and Facebook because we know that he basically worked to get all the Democrats elected and hates Trump, apparently. Banned him from his platform. Twitter and these other companies refused to let Trump put his posts up that said to be calm and don't riot. Basically, in his mind, tried to set him up to make it look like he tried to set up some kind of an insurrection, which would have been the first unarmed insurrection in the history of the United States, by the way. So now Zuckerberg's public claims often conflict with internal research. So we know that when he goes to Congress and says things that something should be taken with a grain of salt, say many. We know that Google and Meta, we know for sure that Zuck is losing big money, and he's got to basically take out TikTok to try to recapture, because a lot of people say he's never had an original idea in his life. So, what do you do when you can't build? You destroy your competition, right? So I don't know if that's true. I'm just saying. Now, Meta pot meet Meta kettle. So here's what I've been saying. Facebook has data sharing partnerships with communist Chinese companies. They're doing the same thing. They're funding all this. So I just want you people to know what's going on. U.S. tech giants help communist China and these other companies build their surveillance state. Do you think they really care about your data? But they're the ones pushing to take these guys out. So it's not about you or your data. It's about a pretext so they cannot be interfered with. So basically, a summary of the key points are in the bill is that it prohibits a company from being controlled by a foreign adversary. ByteDance is mentioned in the legislation by name. It ignores that our own FBI whistleblowers came forward and showed that our own government is doing far worse to us. People who believe in the Constitution. People should be thinking about that. And big tech's been working with them hand in hand. Courts have even found this. So anyways, the bill before the House would also create a mechanism for the president to basically say it's a Russian asset. They tried to say all this stuff about Russian assets last time. The president's going to sign it into law. Now, we know that at least 17% of Democrats would not have voted for Joe Biden if they would have known that the Hunter Biden laptop was real. We know that big tech helped interfere with an election last time. CIA administrators pushed a fake Russia narrative. It was never true. Testimony revealed that FBI employees knowingly they knew that the laptop was real, but they didn't care, suppressed the story. So we all know what happened. Intel officials who claim the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation, they say are far more blameworthy than Twitter, but I just think they're all the same. They all work together as co-conspirators. Now, we know that the Twitter files revealed most of this already. We know that the FBI has far less influence to censor true stories and news about Democrats on Twitter. So we know that that's a problem. And we know that TikTok is the same, even though they also have a big staff of FBI people, because, again, they're a communist Chinese controlled asset, apparently. So no president can ever be trusted to do that. Come on, guys, think about it. We know that Mike Morell, a former CIA director, organized a bullshit letter signed by 50 intelligence community officials ahead of the 2020 presidential election, suggesting that the Hunter Biden laptop and all the leaked emails were Russian disinformation. We know that was a bald-faced lie. Think about that. Let that sink in. So Elon Musk is basically saying, hey, the FBI and the White House deliberately coerced this crap, forcing social media platforms into removing social media posts. That's called election interference by our own government, by the way, if that's true. Twitter is the target, guys. Make no mistake about it. Twitter is the target. They're the ones they want. And FilmLad says, I don't see any good guys in this. And I agree with FilmLad. FilmLad's my buddy on Twitter. He's a super good guy. You guys should check him out. Now, suing Meta and Google. In closing, yes, TikTok can definitely sue, but proving their case would likely cost more than simply divesting to keep the Communist Chinese Party out of our data. In other words, the deal is in this legislation, if Communist China divests, that means that this law doesn't go into effect. But if this law gets passed, this is really bad. They have to divest before the Senate votes this into law, because this is going to give that demented old guy who doesn't even know how to climb up a flight of stairs, who already used his people in government to try and lie about the origins of the Hunter Biden laptop. He runs the FBI. We all know that. The president runs the FBI. I mean, this is crazy that we're even having this conversation. Our own NSA and FBI has been violating our rights, our privacy rights, getting caught left and right. They're his own agencies. If they're so concerned about spying, they should start by looking at our own agencies and seeing why it's okay for them to do it to their own people. I recommend that you all do your own research and you take a look at what I've said. I'm proud of my country, but right now I'm ashamed of a lot of things that our government is doing. That's why in my spare time I try to help people. Make sure to like and subscribe and save this, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. The things I talk about are dangerous to someone who wants a great Leviathan to control your life. I'm somebody that causes you to think. And if you don't start thinking, you're in big trouble. So you better start thinking.